Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, April 23rd, 2026, 9 a.m. I will call this meeting of the Board of Harbor Commissioners for the town of LaPointe to order. With us in person this morning, we have Michael Collins.
Here.
Evan Erickson.
Here.
Myself, Glenn Carlson.
Here.
Via Zoom, we have Commissioner Wiltz, Joseph Wiltz.
Here.
We also have Zoning Administrator Rich Kula via Zoom and Cal Linehan from Madeline Island Ferry Line. Public present, we have Dave Donkers and Nick Hayes. Okay. I guess first up on the agenda is public comment. If there's no public comment, let's move into the minutes of the March 30th meeting.
I move we accept the minutes of Monday. I'll second.
There's no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, number 5, Chief Administrative Officer report.
So we have the current balance of the Harbor Commission bank accounts as of Monday, April 20th. Account we have $102,108.60. March revenue was $100,000. That was at roughly about 90% of our budgeted income for the month. April revenue as of Monday was just over 85,000, which is about just under 55% of our budgeted income. Just know that percentage did not include like a large accounts receivable that we received. So that percentage will be much higher, but that is for something that was received for paying for 2025 expenses. Cal did reach out with an update about the herring shed, with a contract to have that painted. It is in the budget to have it painted. I think that Cal is doing this today. It looks like the contract is to stick to no more than 20,000. I did just want to clarify. I believe we had 14,000 in the budget for that maintenance project. Cal, do you remember, is this an increase at all?
Yep. So I did send an email, but only just shortly. So I'll just kind of repeat that email here quickly. So that was a quote to have it in conjunction with the Cooperage work that we did a year ago. So the price given was to assume, that economy of scale. They're gonna be on site and they're gonna do both projects. And then that, again, additionally, quotes from our vendors are usually only good for 30 to 60 days. And that quote was now well over a year ago given. So the pricing that we got was a deal because they were here. We were doing one larger, project by combining two smaller projects. And so, that made it more efficient for him, bringing down the cost. They didn't increase the price after we canceled this portion of it. So I think we got lucky there on the piece that they did complete. So this is just an updated, quote for 2026 based on, the work to do. And again, to be clear, it is a will not exceed. It could be, under 20, but
I think you froze there, Cal.
Yep.
I think while he's out, I will point out that this is for labor only. And it looks like, actually, there's kind of a little conflict in this contract. It says all finished stains and paints will be charged to the MIFL account at the Color Center. But then 3 sentences later, it says that Distinctive Painting will provide all materials.
Oop, I just connected back. Sorry, I might have connected to the boat and it just pulled away. I heard just the tail end of that about the materials.
I just wanted to point out to the board or for anyone in attendance that this is a labor only quote.
Yes, yeah,
And although there's a little bit of a conflict in the language in the contract, it says that all finished stains and paints will be charged to the Miffle account. But then if you look down to the sentence that begins with the bold distinctive painting LLC will provide all materials is what it says.
yeah. I must have missed that myself in the kind of that contradictory there. As to my knowledge, we don't supply the paintbrushes, the ladders, any of those. We just supply the paint, which we already have the paint on hand, the paint and stains.
We need to take any action on this.
I think that, I don't think we really can as far as like making a motion or anything like that, but we could authorize Miffle to go forward with the work since it's budgeted and
Well, we're 6,000 over, right? Because you said we have in the budget 14,000 for the work, Katie?
Correct. Unless it's located somewhere in like the repairs and supplies line item, unless it was included there, but I have under capital projects and buildings, 14,000 in the budget.
No, it would have just been utilizing, we would have used the 14,000 because that was the last known price. And, I wouldn't have known what to just update it to for 2026. So we just used the last known price as the budgetary item. There was no further amount budgeted anywhere else.
Well, I'll move that we authorize Miffle LLC to proceed with the proposed project at the no more than $20,000 level.
A second.
Can we make a motion for my report?
Oh, yeah.
how about we just make a recommendation
Yeah.
to
Just right.
that Miffle move forward with the project?
So
I think
consensus.
consensus, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Do we have a consensus?
We do. Yep.
Okay.
Recommendation noted. Thank you.
Just an update, the long-term finance task force having their first meeting next week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. The tariff committee did meet yesterday. We wanted to discuss a few things before coming to the full committee. One of those things, and I can let Glenn take over this, would be for the tribal access day that was requested last year.
I'll mention that and then Evan, if you want to talk about the other. Yeah, so we had a request from a tribal member that one day a year we have discounted or free ferry service over here for members of the indigenous community. So we met, we being Evan, myself, and Katie met yesterday to talk about that. And our recommendation is that Treaty Day seems to be a really appropriate day for that. And that actually this year, conveniently, Treaty Day is on a Wednesday, probably our slowest day of the week. And our suggestion to the board, which we'll formalize next meeting, is that we have walk-on passenger only free for Treaty Day for anyone walk-on. We're not going to ask people to show their tribal IDs. There may be people who are not tribal members who are interested in coming over for the ceremony. And so we, anyhow, so that, and plus any pre-registered tribal vehicles that are vans or shuttles bringing people, over, those would also, to the extent that they're pre-registered, those would also be no charge, including the passengers thereof. So, but if you come over for the ceremony in your own car, you're going to pay the passenger and the car. Our suggestion is if you have passengers, have them get out of your car before you board and walk on and get back in the car. So, and that this would be a pilot program, just 1 year, and that as far as marketing it, we would probably not publicize it super widely generally, but specifically communicate with the appropriate tribes, and let them know that, we're doing this.
And how many tribes are there that we'd be?
Well, it depends on how you cut it, but,
Yeah.
probably formally, we'd probably let about, I think it's 6 or 8 that have, some connection either to Madeline Island as an origin story, or their tribe was a signatory to the Treaty of 1854. And I think that's like 6 or 8.
Yeah.
So that's all I have. And Evan has, we also had another topic.
Yeah, well, and just to go off of the Treaty Day passage, in the past, years ago, Miffle did in September during graduation weekend they had free passenger ferry day. So this kind of brings a little bit of that back, and then it moved to half day passenger day, and then it just went away. So it's great to see that we're kind of giving some sort of passenger free ferry day a little bit, bringing that back. Another topic we went off of was meeting with Lauren and Darlings and going over the food truck or the fridge truck rates. One of the things that we need to address in the tariff is the labor charge rate, which is at 135 an hour. We want to align more with how the town bills out for when we do work for the county, or for some reason we gotta do sand a private driveway, where the town bills out based on what the cost of that employee is with their benefits and taxes. And we're not gonna ask Miffle to sit there and try to calculate every employee's wage, but instead we're gonna ask Miffle to kind of figure out an average for the people who drive the fridge truck as to what that employee costs with their wage, with their benefits, and just come up with an average rate to charge for the tariffs. And then also looking at the freight charges, we're charging them for the truck passage, and then they were also being charged the $5.25 per 100 pounds. And if anyone who brings their own vehicle over with freight, they're charged for the vehicle, and they're charged per ton of a rate of, I don't know if we ever looked that up. It's like 13
or $14.
Yeah, $14 per ton. And
Over X tons.
the first ton is free. And then after that, it's charged per ton. And when we were looking at the tariffs a couple of years ago and calculating how much revenue we needed to generate, we noticed that like with vehicles, there's a certain, based on square footage of the vehicle, there's quite a difference based on the vehicle. And I think one of the things we want to do over time is try to make it, more equal and fair. And so I think one of the, in the tariff, and also a suggestion to Miffle, is instead of charging per 100 pound, just charge Darling per ton on the freight, because they're already paying for the vehicle passage anyway. And they're still going to be charged the 2-hour labor. So that's going to be written into the tariff to change that labor rate and adjust the food truck or the fridge truck pricing
And we'll be tackling that next meeting?
next meeting.
And just to add on to what Evan said, which all accurate, this is going to be for palletized.
Yeah, palletized.
And so, if it's not palletized, it's still the $5.25 per 100 pounds. But if it is palletized, we'll move it into the tonnage.
That's a good incentive.
Yeah. So anyhow, we can't take action on it now, but those are the 2 recommendations that we had. If anyone has any questions.
Lastly, in my report is just the March reports, which includes Miffle's report to Harbor Commission, balance sheet, budget versus actual for the month, profit and loss, and then I did email out this morning the January through March. I forgot to put that in attachments on Monday.
Cal, is all the SIPs done on all the vessels?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I'm just looking, it says all scheduled maintenance complete. I'm just wondering if that means like all the SIPs have been completed?
No, that's scheduled maintenance, so that wouldn't be SIP.
Okay.
Move we place the CAO report on file.
I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, Town of LaPointe Harbor Commission Memorandum of Expectations.
I'll move that we table this since we haven't yet heard back from Cal, who's out of town.
Okay. I will second that. We'll move on then to revenue. Oh, we'll have to vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
With discussion, 1 second, Zach, didn't Cal respond to this by email?
I don't believe so. I don't
you
recall
a-
seeing,
Field doc?
I don't recall seeing anything. Cal, did you send anything on that yet, on the MOE?
No,
that we sent
I
out?
have updates, but I haven't sent them in an email. I just responded in an email. I haven't gone through it in its entirety.
Okay.
So,
We'll hold off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next on the agenda, revenue bond covenant update.
So, as we all know, Bremer Bank was bought by Old National Bank. And as we all know, Bremer Bank lent the Harbor Commission town somewhat over $10 million to purchase the ferry line. And in the course of Old National Bank doing their post-acquisition due diligence of all of the loans that Bremer has made, some really astute person discovered a problem in the revenue bond covenants. The covenant was intended to say that we were required to have a debt service coverage ratio. So how much of our net income was needed to cover the revenue bond debt service needed to be 2.5 times, which is pretty conservative. I mean, 1.5 or 2.0 is probably more. But we've said, hey, we see the numbers and we feel comfortable doing 2.5. Well, the person who actually drafted that on page 87 had the 2.5 being against all of the town's indebtedness. Okay, which at this point we are at, according to Old National and our banker, we're right now at 1.29 on all debt service versus the net income of the ferry line. Okay, well, the thing is, most of the town's debt service, in fact, all of the town's debt service, that's general obligation, is already being levied. I mean, we're already levying for those. Okay, so anyhow, we had a meeting, Katie, myself, with Rick Geisen from Bremer Bank, who was the loan officer that we dealt with during the transaction. He agreed it was a mistake. He proposed a couple of things that weren't going to fly. Like, how about if we reduce the coverage ratio, continue to have it be all the town's debt, but we'll make it 1.2. And it's like, no, that's not going to work for us. So I think that he ultimately agreed that he would go back to the law firm that prepared the documents and get them to make it right and to make it reflect what the intent of the parties was back when. And so we're still waiting to get the revised, corrected revenue bond thing, but it was a bit of a surprise when you get a letter from your banker saying, you're in violation of a covenant of your, of your revenue bonds.
One that was never achievable.
Yeah, it was not achievable the day we signed the bond. So, it was probably not something that they were ever going to be able to enforce, because it was nonsensical at the outset. So that's all that I have to report, Katie, unless you have anything.
Yeah, we haven't gotten anything new from that.
There's always something.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you for that, Glenn, and for handling that situation thus far.
I guess to the person who read however many
Yeah,
pages of that
87
document.
pages.
yeah, I told Rick the person should get a raise.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, okay. Anyhow.
Next up, award bid and approved contract for Madeline Island Ferry Line boat dock and ramp reconstruction, dredging and piling. We only received the one bid, it looks like.
I'll make a motion to award the bid for the dredging and piling project to Nelson Construction with discussion.
In the amount of,
In the amount of $157,000 and $157,046 and no cents.
it's not the 210,
Oh,
849.
It is the 210.
$210,849.
I'll second.
Well, how much did we have budgeted for this part of the project?
I've got that in the email I sent in. From memory off the top of my head, I believe it was 145 from memory. But I did send that in all of that information in an email to the Harbor Commission.
Okay, and where does that put us overall for the whole grant?
We're still significantly under. We will be,
Okay,
under
Yep.
for the entirety of it. And so because one portion goes over, but we're not ultimately over altogether, we're still in the clear.
okay, good.
My question is there a site designated for the spoils?
Yes, which is in the bid as well as in the permits.
I only got 2 pages of this, so bear with me.
Yeah.
What is the location? Is it here on the island or?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
So Arnie or Nelson Construction applied for the permit. They hold the permit. So the permit is for the spoils to go to their site. It wouldn't have mattered ultimately who got the bid. It would have had to have gone to that site because that was the permit that was held.
Okay.
The town authorized Nelson Construction to get a permit, and so they became sort of the permit holder in that regard.
Does that mean that material becomes theirs, or would the town still have access to it? Or
That material,
it's theirs?
yeah, yep, that's my understanding. Is it does become theirs. That is a part of the permitting, and I believe that's they had to actually they have to pay for it themselves too, right? So it's the state's property, and in order to take that, they have to pay yardage for it as well. So it's kind of a weird cycle there, but they had to pay for it from the state.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, discuss schedule of annual critical tasks.
And I had asked,
Morning, Mary. Let the record reflect that Mary Ross arrived 9:25.
so I asked that this be put on the agenda. So far, we have not had to ask the town to subsidize through the tax levy any of the harbor Commission / Ferry Lines expenses. And while we expect and hope that that will continue, I think we need to be mindful of a deadline to inform the town that we may need to add something to the levy. And that deadline every year is October 1st. So what that suggests to me anyhow is that we need to have a budget done by October 1st. Okay, so that we will know if we will need taxpayer support for the coming year. We have talked with Miffle, in fact, in our discussions of expectations, sort of what we see as the sequencing of discussions around the budget. So as we know, the Harbor Commission really, as far as the ferry line is concerned, we have, 3 distinct authorities. We have the authority over the schedule, we have the authority over fares, and we have authority over the annual budget. And so those are really our 3 annual critical tasks. It makes sense that we do the schedule first, right? That we come up with what we think the schedule should be. And after that, work on the budget rather than the other way around. Let's have the budget fit the schedule and go from there. That will inform 2 things when we do the budget. Will be, we've got 2 things. If the budget's not balanced, we've got 2 sources to balance it. One is fares, tariff, and second is property tax. And so by the time we conclude the budget, we should have a pretty good idea of how much, if anything, additional we're going to need from those 2 items. And so October 1st, deadline to let the town know. Then after October 1st, we'll work on the tariffs to then raise the money that we believe we need to make the budget work from any sort of tariffs or tariff increases. So that's it. But what it says is, so if we have to have the budget finished by October 1st, that means, probably Katie and the budget committee need to start meeting like mid-August. And what that also means is that the scheduling committee needs to meet even before mid-August.
That's awfully tough though, because most of our revenue won't be known.
Right.
Because August is our biggest month, September's
Right.
in the top 4.
Yeah. So we will by mid-August know our July revenue, which is, our biggest or second biggest month. We don't by mid-August need to nail down the revenue because we've got till October to nail that down. But by mid-August, we should have a pretty good idea of the schedule that we're going to have. But we may need to start to work on the schedule like beginning of July. So I'm just throwing out these dates so that, we're all aware of when we may need
The
to start.
sequencing makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that timeline mandated by statute? I mean,
Yeah, October 1st is.
because like the sanitary district is separate entity and we have until November, October 30th. We have until the end of October, which
Yeah.
those few days could be.
Huge.
Yeah, we'll double check, but I think ours is by statute October 1st.
Difference.
I could be
So,
wrong. but-
so if Murph needs a new compactor, they need to notify the town board by October 1st?
No, they're part of the town's budgeting process. And for the town's budgeting process, we really don't even start that in terms of the town board until like late October.
Right.
And it's not until, say, mid-November that the board approves a budget for,
Picture.
yeah, and then the meeting in December where the townspeople approve the levy and the overall budget. So,
And the real deadline there is getting the numbers to the treasurer for tax bills
mhm,
in January.
mhm. Yeah, that's it all, and the dominoes.
Yep.
Because we gotta have money coming in starting in January. So anyhow, any questions about that time frame? Okay, thank you.
I appreciate this effort to get a jump on it.
Yeah.
I know we've been way behind the last couple of years, and I think this is a great proactive.
Katie, can you check on it? So our request, the Harbor Commission is similar to the sanitary district in terms of what it may or may not have to levy, because I know the sanitary district can request,
I love it.
a levy.
It's the same
Okay.
thing.
Could you check to make sure that it's October 1st? Because it might be the end of October,
Yeah,
which
could be.
if we had numbers through the middle of October, that would be
That would make a
fabulous.
difference.
Yeah,
That'd make
yeah.
a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree.
Zach, if possible, could I make a comment on that?
Certainly.
I just wanted to say, I think that proposed outline is absolutely fantastic. Miffle is 100% behind that. I think that'll allow us to do, our portion of it that much better as well. So I really appreciate that, forethought and planning.
Thanks, Cal.
Thank you.
Next up is approval of bills, but I'm just realizing that this oh no, it's further down the agenda. Never mind. Approval of bills. It looks like I'll just make a motion that we pay the bills, approve the bills in the amount of $206,964.11.
I'll second with discussion. How much overtime was in on payroll? I didn't see the sheet when I looked at bills earlier in the week.
They're separate in that stack, the payrolls. The big stack.
Yeah,
Let me look through it if you want.
I guess I'll just,
I can itemize this if you would like.
no, that's fine.
And just so you're aware, it looks extra lengthy because it's a confusing process that we have in order to get the expenses broken down correctly in the town's accounting system workforce. Right now, they're just kind of broken down in QuickBooks. And I transfer it, just said, this is gonna be the new system, so that's why it looks so long.
Now, we at the 2 week
Yeah, that's.
now.
Yeah, so Miffle did provide earlier this week, going down to starting to provide those expenses every 2 weeks instead of monthly. Those are not, the first part of April is not included in that. I do not have time to get it to this, but.
Yes, and if you recall, as part of the memorandum of expectations, we did say that we'd like to tighten the reimbursement periods so that one, we get to see reimbursements sooner than, a month and a half after maybe the expenses are incurred. And also it will, and we'll figure out this, we haven't yet, but it will also, well, as you know, the Harbor Commission has on deposit basically with Miffle, $600,000 of working capital. So that when they get reimbursed, it's really just replenishing that working capital account. But it right now stands at $600,000. But that is what is needed on a monthly reimbursement basis. If we cut that down, which we're now doing to every 2 weeks, that should significantly reduce the amount of the amount that needs to be on deposit. which means that our town treasurer can invest that money and earn interest on it, which we're not able to currently do.
Well, how much of a difference from the 600 do you think?
I would say at least a couple $100,000.
Yeah, wow. Okay. I can earn some.
So we had a motion with discussion. I don't recall if we had a second.
I seconded.
I will call the vote if there's no further discussion. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Future agenda items.
Memorandum of expectations.
Your approval. And then, I don't know, I suppose it'll just develop as we go along. That's all I have for now, unless someone has anything else. And then when do we want to meet?
Your Monday meeting?
No, we just had one a month ago.
Well,
but
Yeah. Happy spring.
yeah. We probably should. Monday.
How about is the 4th too soon?
We won't have the middle report isn't due until the 10th.
Okay,
Well, I will have half of April's expenses. I mean, I'll have them
It's too soon.
beginning of next week.
Do the 11th?
You know, there's a town board meeting. Oh, no, Monday, sorry.
I'll probably Zoom or call in. Be down in Illinois.
I think the 11th works for me. Should we
4:30.
Yep. I'll open the floor to the second round of public comment. Go ahead, Cal.
So I just wanted to do some quick updates. First, I was very happy with the way that everything worked out post the wind event. Our crew put in quite a few extra trips, after-hour trips to get XL over there, and of course, XL in the town put in a lot more than that. So very thankful for their support, and we depend on them as well. So that, I think, is as bad as it was, went as good as it could. So that was great. The starting of the kind of that spring expanded schedule earlier, I think went well. I hope, the general consensus is that I've heard that, people were happy with that. And I think, we pushed really hard to get that online as soon as possible. We still did have ice challenges, but, we were prepared and, used the Queen to do some work and keep a channel open for the La Pointe, and, keep safe operation later into the evening. And then I would just like to, have just a quick 10-second, our trip to DC on behalf of the Ferry Line and the Harbor Commission and the town, I think was incredibly successful. We had some amazing opportunities to get in front of senators and staffers and representatives on both sides of the aisle. And I think we worked really hard to, work on increased funding opportunities for public-owned ferries and making that a bipartisan, issue. Everybody, can sort of agree that this is good for everybody. And, we did meet with both sides, and, I believe we were successful in conveying that message. So I just really like to, thank everybody involved, Rich, for coming along and making that as successful as it was. And I think it will ultimately lead to, more funding opportunities for the town to help reduce the burden on the ticket payer and the taxpayer.
Great. Thank you, Cal.
Thank you.
Did you guys meet one-on-one with representatives, or was it like a group presentation?
So we were in a small group of essentially just 5 of us from the Midwest. And when we met with, you know, a representative of a specific area, you know, that person would take lead. But then, you know, so I was talking to a representative from Illinois, and, you know, they would say their piece, and then, you know, Rich and I would chime and say, here's how it affects us as well. You know, so this isn't just your district, although it does have immediate consequences in your district. It affects us in, you know, in our district as well. And here's how it does. And then the same with the senator and their staffers. You know, the person from their area would kind of lead the discussion and talk about their issues. And then, you know, the rest of the group would, you know, chime in on how that affects their operation. So I think overall it was incredibly successful. We were well received, and it was a very worthwhile event, and very appreciative of everybody's support. And Rich was a huge part of that.
Thank you all. And I just want to mention for everyone's benefit, our group of, there were 5, and so Cal and Rich were part of that group of 5. They actually met with Senators Baldwin, Dick Durbin from Illinois, and Tammy Duckworth from Illinois, and then 2 members of the House on the Republican side as well.
From Wisconsin or?
No, one from Kentucky. So there was someone from Kentucky was on there in their 5. And then I believe the other one was New York.
Illinois.
Oh, the final one was Illinois, the representative. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, Illinois, and then we also met with someone from Mississippi, a representative from Mississippi at the very end.
Yeah,
great. Well, thank you guys. I look forward to seeing the fruits of this in the future.
Any other public comment?
Before we go into closed session, I would just like to acknowledge our guest here, Nick, from he is the harbor master of the Bayfield Harbor and is employed by the Bayfield Harbor Commission. And we're going into closed session to discuss their proposal to our Harbor Commission regarding the use of the bad weather dock that we have off of Rittenhouse.
Well, that we own.
But yes, we own that dock, but the access, you know, through Bayfield. So anyhow, appreciate you coming, and we look forward to working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you.
Any questions though with that before I depart?
No, this does follow a meeting that Zach and I had with Nick and the mayor of Bayfield back in early December. And their attorney drafted this. And so now we got it about a week ago. The Harbor Commission has not really talked about it amongst ourselves at all.
Okay.
And so this will be our first opportunity to talk about it. And I would imagine that if there are any questions, Katie Kisner will probably reach out to you. So
Direct any questions over. I'll facilitate, answer what I can, and then direct anything that's above what I can answer to the office.
great. Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for making the trek.
Hey, any day on the water, great days.
I would like to ask if Cal's available to stick around for this discussion. That makes, yes, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we go into closed session actually for 2 purposes. One is to discuss this Harbor Commission MOU from Bayfield under state statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. If the commission goes into closed session, it will